Hi Stampers, it's super awesome stamper Shirley Merker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, USA. In this video, I will show you how to assemble your March 2021 Kits in the Mail. It's this fancy corner card. That's what I'm calling it anyway. Not sure if there's a special name for this card, but that's what I'm calling it. So fancy corner. It's a square card. So you'll hand deliver it or mail it in the enclosed cello bag that I have all the supplies in. So let's get started. I'll go through one by one how to assemble each card. So your supply kit comes in the 6x9 white envelope. Both of the kits are in there. So pull everything out and see what you got. We will work on the Highland Heather kit first. So set the other supplies aside until we need those. So I've already pre-scored it on the 4 mark both ways and folded it in half so it would fit into your mailing envelope. We need to make these flaps. So what you will do is find your score mark, and you might just want to crisp up that other edge so you can find that score mark a little easier. And then what you're going to do is find a score line in your scoring board, just whatever line you'd like to use. I'm going to use my 4 1/4 because that's where I normally score things. Insert your stylus into the groove and drag it down. Now don't remove your stylus. And what you're going to do is line up that score mark at the top of the paper in that 4 1/4 line. And then down here where my thumb is, I'm going to line it up where my stylus is. And then you're going to drag your stylus in that groove and make that flap. So same thing on this side. Insert your stylus in your groove, whichever mark you want to use. And then line up the groove at the top where your marker is, position this score mark on the side where my thumb is into the groove, and make sure things don't move, and then drag your stylus through. And that's how I scored my flaps. All right, so let's do the Rococo Rose one as well, as long as we're here. So I've already scored it on both sides at that 4-inch mark, so just fold it back and use a bone folder and crisp it up. Insert your stylus and drag it down. Then line up those score marks in that groove. Oh, and I moved it a little bit. Oh, I'm going to move it back. I can tell which groove line is my 4 1/4 because that's the one I use so much. I've worn it out. So that one folds back, and then come over this one right here. Insert it, line it up. There, so you've seen me do it 4 times. Hopefully you'll be able to do it successfully. There's my successfully on your flaps. There you go. And if you got a scoring blade on your paper trimmer, that works just fine too. You just line up those scoring corners. Okay, so we're gonna work with the Highland Heather card first. So let me pull this back in. Notice I got a little bit of ink on there, but I'm gonna cover that up, so I'm not really concerned about that. So for this card, we'll need to do the cutting right there. So you just cut along the score line with your paper snips up to the center. And that provides the little swing action that you need. Just like this. Okay, you can kind of see it coming together. So let's pull in that Rococo Rose one, do the same thing. I like to do things repetitively or do all the same steps at once. Just up to the center. Okay. All right, so now grab your little supply kit and open it up. And this is the envelope that you'll deliver the card in, this medium cello envelope. If you mail it, you most likely have to add additional postage. It's going to be pretty thick, although we'll check it in my little postage mailer and see if it's thin enough. It has to be less than 1/4 inch. All right, there's my business card. Keep it handy in case you need to contact me or place an order, or check out my blog at superawesomestamper.com for more inspiration and ordering. And I change the kits every month, so you just click on that kits in the mail icon and see what's coming up. All right, I'm going to try to keep that in the screen. We've got 2 pieces here of this wood look. You decide how you want your patterns to go. I might do it that way. And then you can bring in your paper trimmer, or you can just fold them in half like I'm doing. And just cut them in half. Okay, that'll fit there, and then this one will be this way. Hindsight, paper trimmer might be a little faster, right? But I move everything off my table to film. Everything that I don't think I need. I normally don't need a paper trimmer during a filming. I'll bring it in for the Rococo Rose one. Okay, so there's that. We got our little triangles for the top. Okay, so we're gonna do some inking. So you needed to purchase the Hey Birthday Chick stamp set and Highland Heather ink pad to complete the card as I've designed it. We are not allowed to include stamped images in our kits, so that's why they're not included in your kit. But I did include a strip of basic white cardstock, so you can do all the stamping on there. Let's see here. So open this up. And I need a chick with a balloon. And let's flip this way. Chick with the balloon. And a chick eating a cupcake. Let's do that one like right there. And I need the chick that looks like she's dancing. Let's put that one right there. And I'll need a little bit of this to make the flower on the second card. Okay, let's set that aside. We're going to do some more stamping before I go and die cut those images. I think I got a little bit of ink on my fingers. All right, so we're going to stamp our chicks here. Our chicks. So I got four party chicks right at the bottom there. And then I have some confetti. And you may have gotten the lighter wood grain look or the slightly darker wood grain look. It just depended on what I had in stock. They're both from the In Good Taste Designer Series paper pack. All right, and then these 2 white pieces are for the bottom. So I have a Let's Celebrate You. And there was a little speck on that one. I'm gonna put this right here. And instead of doing a die cut, we are going to stamp Happy Birthday. Not sure if I gave you quite enough Highland Heather cardstock to do the die cut, but if you purchase the stamp set, you got that Happy Birthday, which works just as well. Okay, I think that's all the stamping for this card, so I can shut up my ink pad. Again, that was Highland Heather ink. And then I'm going to step away and die cut my shapes, so I will be right back. All right, I'm done with the die cutting. So this stamp set comes with a coordinating die set. The die set is out of publication, and that means it's shown on the online store. It's not in the catalog, but there is a coordinating die set. So it's just called Chick Dies. So perfectly cut out these images This one slipped a little bit while I was rolling it through, but that looks fine. And then also, set those aside, or back on the mat there so I don't lose them. You're gonna want to die cut a chick from the Daffodil Delights scrap that I gave you, and then a little Highland Heather bow from the scrap that I gave you. So this is just a vent cover that I use to make sure I don't lose any dies in the trash. All right, so I think this is all the pieces that we need to assemble our card. So let me find my glue here. Okay, so I am just going to use my Stampin' seal. And apply it on all the sides that need it. Doing little triangles, and then this one right here. Okay. And then I'm going to bring back in my card and start assembling. Try not to get the adhesive on pieces I don't want it on. So this one, Let's Celebrate You, goes on the bottom right quadrant. Just the plain white one goes on the bottom left quadrant. And then the chicks in the dancing line go on the bottom quadrant, bottom triangle on the upper quadrants. And these squares were cut 3.75 inches square, and I'm missing one. Did it get stuck somewhere? Here it is. Just cut in half, and then the card base was Highland Heather, 8 by 8 inches, and then scored at 4 inches. Okay, so you can kind of see it's coming together. Just like that. All right, we got some more fun embellishments. I'm going to pop our chicks up. Grab my dimensionals. I'm going to use my big ones. So my chick with the balloon tied on its feathers is bottom right quadrant. Kind of at an angle, because this would sit on a desk like that. And then dimensional that up. Bring my yellow chick back in the screen. The chick that's checking out the cupcakes got a dimensional on it. That just kind of gets centered in that quadrant. Upper left. And then the dancing chick is the upper right quadrant. What else? What else we got to add here? Our chick and a bow. So I recommend getting out your fine tip glue pen or your Tombow liquid glue. Whatever works for you. Or even a glue dot would work. Glue dot would work on the chick here. I want to get a lot of glue on there. There. So the chick adds just a pop of color. Just what it needed. All right, let's work on our heart charm. So the heart charm's got a flat side and a rounded side. So the rounded side faces up and the flat side faces back. So go ahead and tie just a simple knot. And you have more ribbon than what you're going to use unless you want a really long ribbon on there. So you got enough for 2 knots if you want. And I'm just pulling it so that I can cut that off of there and use some of this ribbon somewhere else. And if you pull really hard, the knot gets really tight, and that's kind of good, so it'll stay where you want it. And then for the linen thread, I just met up the 2 ends. and looped it through the heart, and then just tied it around the Gorgeous Grape ribbon. You do what you would like to do with your ribbon. I just gave you more than what you would need for this Gorgeous Grape. And let me find my paper snips. And let's do tails like that. All right, and then to adhere it to our, I got a little bit of a shadow on the balloon, which is okay, but I might overlap the heart a little bit more than what I did on there. So let me find my glue dots. And on the back side of your knot is where you would attach a glue dot. And if you don't want that heart to move, you could also attach a glue dot and kind of roll it underneath. So you see what I'm doing? Kind of using the backer sheet to kind of roll up that glue dot and make it thin so you can't see it behind the heart charm. And then you just place it to the left of your balloon. Secure that down. I'm trying to cover up that shadow a little bit. There we go. And you've made your first Hey Birthday Chick greeting card. Oh, and there should be some pearls. Pearls went off of my mat here. So 2 of these light pastel pearls from the January to June catalog. Needed something on the corners to kind of anchor it. All right, so there's that one. All right, I'm going to set this aside, clean up a little bit, and bring in the Rococo Rose card. All right, here's the Rococo Rose design. So on the back side, I added one of our mini dimensionals, and that provides a little hook to secure this flap close. So on the Birthday Chick card, I didn't bother securing this flap close, but for this one, I wanted more of a finished look. And I've seen some people use magnets, but of course we don't sell magnets. And I wasn't about to go find magnets, and I wanted to make sure we could use all Stampin' Up! Products, so that mini dimensional works just fine for a little bit of a clasp. It might even mail a little better without that metal in it. All right, so there is that design. So to complete this card kit, you will need coordinating ink colors. I'm using Petal Pink, Night of Navy, and Old Olive, because those are the colors in the pattern paper. And then to make the little flower here and the little leaves, the little Old Olive leaf impressions there, I am using stamps from the Gorgeous Posies stamp set. And the Gorgeous Posies stamp set also has a coordinating kit way in the front of the annual catalog that it's all purple. It's just a beautiful kit. And it comes with a very sturdy cardboard keepsake box. Okay, I'm getting a little excited about the Gorgeous Posies kit, but it's just a really pretty kit. All right, so press straight down, straight up and down, no rocking, firm and committed pressure. All right, next up's going to be a little bit of the leaf. So there's a light shading around that piece. So let me get that out. Let's get everything out of your kit. It's this piece right here that I've already die cut with that rectangular stitch framelit. So just fold that over just in half. You can score it if you'd like on your scoring board, but you can just score it in half and use your bone folder to crisp it up. Okay, and then, oh, here we go. I'm just using the tips of the leaves, and I just want some light color. So I didn't bother re-inking my stamp, or re-inking my ink pad, because I didn't want, like I said, a lot of color, just a little bit to provide a soft edge. All right, and that was the Old Olive ink pad. And then last, I will be bringing in the Night of Navy ink pad. And we've got the little center of the flower that we're going to make Night of Navy. So it kind of coordinates with this flower right here on this pattern paper. You may or may not have gotten that pattern. The pattern was asymmetrical. It was different on the whole full 12 by 12 sheet. All right, and then celebrating your day. Now, one trick when I mount my word stamps on my block is I do a test stamp. So I line it up on an edge on my grid paper, the edge of the block with one of the lines in the grid paper, and I stamp down. And that tells me my stamp is pretty straight. So on my block, so what I'm going to do is line up my paper on my grid line, and then line up my block on one of the grid lines. And this is kind of all just eyeballing a little bit. Eyeballing while I'm on camera. There. So that's how I make sure things are pretty straight. Okay, and we're done with our stamping. All right, so this stamp set does not have a die cut, so we need to go back to the tried and true method of fussy cutting. So our paper snips are perfect for fussy cutting. So you don't need to purchase all the dies if you don't want to. Especially if you like fussy cutting things out, paper snips are an economical investment. I have several pairs, and I just have several pairs because I used to have in-person classes, and I provided them on the workstations in case attendees forgot their cropping caddy. And otherwise I wouldn't have needed more than one, but they're super sharp. I can say none of mine have ever been dull. I use them to cut ribbon and fussy cut. There. This one I want to cut a little more. So the first one I didn't get it quite close enough. I like a little bit of white around the petals, but not quite so much. There. So this is what you should have left if you're using the same supplies that I'm using, same stamps and die cuts left off that white sheet. All right, so let's get to attaching some things. Let's see here. I'm always a fan of attaching some things to get it out of my way. So this one gets attached on the bottom right quadrant. And since the pattern paper is two-sided, you can decide which side you want up. All right, so it's starting to come together. You've got this little piece of dimensional. Let's work on that piece. So if you flip your card over, you're going to put one dimensional in the corner. And I sent you two with a little bit of extra in case they got crushed, or you're making another card, or want to do the same kind of thing on the chick card. So just on the bottom right quadrant on the back side is where you'd put that one. You leave the backer sheet on. We don't remove it so it doesn't become sticky. And then you would have gotten some white baker's twine or pink baker's twine or some of the green. I'm going to pull this up to the camera. You create a little loop. So you attach some baker's twine underneath the Night of Navy, and you loop it back around that dimensional. And that keeps the card closed, just like that. Otherwise it will pop open just like the chick card. You only need about half of what I gave you. So go ahead and cut that in half. I'll be doing a little bit of editing because I wanted to make sure you got to do this step first. Originally, I did this step last. I had to do a little bit of pulling stuff apart. So attach your dimensional on the back, and then you'll have your piece of baker's twine. And this measures about 4.5 inches. I think I gave you 9 inches. So just create a loop and loop it around the back. And place your card down on the table and pull your pattern piece to the front. And now you're going to attach some tear and tape. So I've already got some tear and tape attached to the front so I can anchor that little bit of baker's twine on there. Then I'm going to secure it with another piece of baker's twine. I don't want it to dislodge while people are playing with their card. All right, next you're going to attach the navy blue piece. So like I said, I did a little bit of editing here and shuffling around. So I already have the assembled piece, but you're assembling with me. So you'll just attach your navy blue piece, and then I'll proceed with the video with how to layer on up all of the pieces on top of the navy blue. So that's how you hide your baker's twine little loop behind your navy piece. Next layer is going to be the Night of Navy at an angle. So I'm just providing a little bit of motion. If things aren't straight on, it provides a little bit of motion. And on the back side of your Celebrating Your Day, you just apply adhesive on that one side, not the side that you stamped on, because you want this to pop up when they open up the card. Just like that, so it'll pop up. And then you should have a couple of little hearts. They're really small little white hearts in the January to June catalog, but they were the perfect embellishment against this Night of Navy cardstock. So those are placed right there. All right, so a couple more things that you have in your kit would be your pattern paper. Again, you can decide if you want the grain up or the patterns up. And I am just going to cut these in half again. With my paper snips. Again, if you've got your paper trimmer right next to you, you're going to just want to cut these in half into 2 equal triangles. There you go. All right, and then glue these up. Your favorite glue. Gosh, I see I'm almost done on this roll. Oh, yep, I'm done. So let me attach these down. One thing I do is I attach all the adhesive like I did on the first card, and then I start layering up, and I tend to sometimes stick things where they don't, you know, on the back of the card base or something. All right, let me get rid of some of these things. These two, let's just use some tear and tape. Or, no, I'm going to use some tear and tape. I was going to say I can use some glue dots. Tear and tape will be fine. Didn't realize my roll was that close to being out. They've got that little red end, so you can kind of monitor that. Guess I wasn't monitoring that too close. But tear and tape is nice and thin. It's not going to add depth like a glue dot might. All right, and then just place those in upper corners. Okay, almost looking like the sample card, right? All right, so we got our flower. We're gonna pop that up on some dimensionals. I'm gonna do 2 because we're gonna put some thread behind there. Now, actually, that's before I work on the thread. You would have gotten a couple of champagne rhinestones, either a small one or a large one, or a couple of small ones. So those go in the center of your flower. So the way we sell the rhinestones, there's a couple of different sizes on each sheet. So depending, again, as I ran through stock, you might have gotten a large one or a couple of small ones. So we got some thick mossy meadow twine, and that gets placed over here. So let's place that down. I'm going to use some tear and tape. And then, you know, you just unhook it. Flip it shut, flip it back or down, flip it on itself, insert it in your envelope. And then I said I was going to check our postage meters, so let me see if this will go with one postage stamp. It's pretty tight. So you would probably have to do a non-machinable, the extra, whatever charge it is, because we can't mail square cards in the US without it having been extra postage. And you couldn't just flap this shut because it's floppy and they like flat things. So I suggest that you hand deliver this one because it is a little tight for that 1/4 inch. Or slip it inside of a gift. All right, we're almost done. Flip this back. You've got a piece of the white or pink or green thread left, and I just place that over the thicker Mossy Meadow twine just to add a little bit more interest. And then find your flower. Position that on your card or wherever you'd like. And that's it. Here is my sample card, and here's the card that I just created with you. So I hope you enjoyed creating these cards with me. Again, my kits in the mail change every month, so there'll be some more kits being announced for my April kits in the coming weeks. So make sure you check out my blog. It's superawesomestamper.com. Click on Kits in the Mail to see what I'm offering, and use the convenient PayPal button to pay for a kit, and I'll promptly ship your kit. If a kit is posted and it says it's for sale, kits are available. Sometimes I sell out, and I'll change that button to being sold out if I no longer have any kits available. All right, so thanks for stamping with me. I hope you had a great time, and we'll stamp with you soon. And before you leave, make sure you hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel so you're notified when I load new content. Bye.